You have any other questions or anything?
I want to get your opinion. Now, we most definitely disagree. Most definitely agree on this. What's your opinion on gay marriage?
Oh yeah, for sure. That should have been done in the long time ago. I mean, we have it now, but yeah, for sure.
I think that I'm not exactly as straight as an arrow, to put it lightly. If you guys catch my drift, I think that we should have had gay marriage a long time ago. I think it should have been legal. That's where that libertarian streak comes in.
I'll even take it further to say that it is appalling that so many of our left-wing politicians are so recently on the gay marriage train. Bernie Sanders is an exception. Bernie Sanders has been at least slightly fighting for gay rights for a very long time.
I agree.
What I think is like real interesting now. Wait, so SJB, are you from Canada?
Yes, I am.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so it's so weird because I feel like the right and the left kind of have like these stereotypical versions of each other, and most people that I know just in life on both sides of the aisle, like they are in support of gay marriage, and even religious people, like they're kind of just like, Jesus would say, like, even if it is a sin, which, and I'm just speaking from the religious perspective that has been the stereotypical, like, oh God, like evangelical Christians are, the rulers of the Republican Party, and, they hate gay marriage, and, everyone's so afraid of the right for being so homophobic. But I don't think that that's true. I do believe that homophobia definitely exists, but I think policy is not the way that society progresses on social issues. Like, I just think society progresses like kind of naturally. I think people, one of my best friends is gay. He's like my best friend from college, and I would never wish anything bad upon him, and I'm Catholic, and everyone I know who's Catholic is, it's not their place to judge anyone. That's like the teaching of Jesus. It's like, okay, whatever the Bible says, whatever, but the Bible also says, like, it's not our place to condemn or judge anyone. Like, it's our job to love everyone no matter what. And so that's like the real hypocrisy of Christianity in some ways. Like, a lot of Christians don't act like that, but that is the teaching. And so to me, I do feel like people are way more tolerant than any left-wing media person or whatever wouldn't allow you to believe. But, SJB, based on what you've said, I'm sure you have a different opinion based on your life experience. So maybe you can kind of tell us like where you stand with that.
Well, I'm a supporter of gay marriage, obviously. Actually, a lot of my conservative friends are very okay with me being homosexual, bisexual. My grandmother, who I love dearly, I see her as my second mother, she is very liberal. She supports Justin Trudeau. She supported every single leader of the Liberal Party, no conservatives. But if she found out that I wasn't exactly as straight as an arrow, she wouldn't be that pleased. Now, would she disown me? No. Would she call me, queer and a fudge packer? Probably. But I wouldn't judge her for that, since she was born in fascist Italy during the 1930s. I think, what's it called? I think that both sides of the political aisle have people that are against same-sex marriage. The right has their hardcore evangelical Christians, not your common evangelical Christians, I beg your pardon. And with the left, you have those really hardcore Catholics. So yeah, that's my opinion. Now I think that both sides of the aisle should encourage gay people, LGBT members of the right wing, such as the log cabin Republicans. I think if we want to make homosexuality and all that kind of stuff a normal part of our society, we should have homosexuals who are part of left wing, such as social democrats, socialists, communists, etc., as well as people as well as conservatives, as well as Republicans, whether it be people like like moderate Republicans, like Tuesday Republicans, or whether it be hardcore religious gay Republicans, like God. I guess Richard Grenell is the closest I can think of off the top of my head. So that's my opinion.
Did you know that between 2016 and 2020, Trump more than doubled his support from the LGBT community? And have you heard of Brandon Straka?
No, I have not. Who is he?
So he founded the Walkaway movement. He's a gay man, and he basically established this movement to walk away from the Democratic Party because he just felt like the radical left wing was not really something that he could relate to anymore, and people were like way more hateful from his perspective. People were much more hateful on the left, and he just really couldn't identify with it anymore, and he just felt like his vote was really going towards these people in power who didn't really care about anyone. And I feel like a lot of Trump supporters, like myself, it's not about left or right. Like, everyone wants equal rights for everyone. It's not about social issues. I feel like most people are socially liberal at this point in the 21st century. Not everyone, but I do feel like, millennials, Gen Z, Gen X, even boomers, like my parents, your parents, they're pretty socially liberal. Not everyone, but a majority of people, I think, have just kind of reached this point in human civilization where it's like, why would anyone put up a fight against gay marriage? Like, who cares? Like, everyone should be happy. That's kind of my opinion. But anyways, I do recommend just checking out Brandon Straka because he's very vocal activist in the gay community who's a Trump supporter.
Well, can I say something about Trump and gay rights?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm about to make a do y'all know what I call it a fact statement, but it's actually called truth statement. It doesn't mean that it's true or factual. It just means that there is a verifiable statement, verifiable aspect of that statement. So if I say the sky is blue, you can verify that the sky is blue. If I say it's raining, you can verify it's raining. But if it's sunny outside and I say it's raining, it's still a truth statement. It's just that I'm lying, but it's still a truth statement. It's just that I'm not telling the truth. So I'm about to make a truth statement. And that is that Donald Trump tried to prevent gay couples from being able to adopt children. As a verifiable thing, I just looked it up just to make sure it's still there. I have a feeling some of you don't really believe in much of the media, yeah, that is a thing that in my world, where I do trust that the media isn't going to write out lie, happened. What do y'all think about that?
Do you mind if I take a swing first?
Go ahead.
To my knowledge, I believe it was for religious institutions who did not want gay couples to adopt their children. When it comes to that, my libertarian, as well as my liberal side, I'm a libertarian conservative, but There's an interesting quote by Martin Luther King Jr. which says that darkness can't drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate can't drive out hate, only light can do that. I think that we cannot abolish intolerance with more intolerance. I do not think you can. I think we can only abolish intolerance with love. Now, I think that if we were to introduce a homosexual to a person who is not a big fan of gay marriage, then that person would kind of swing the other way on gay marriage. We can look at it with George H.W. Bush. After going to a gay wedding, he lightened up on gay marriage anyways. So I think both. Depends on the case when it comes to religious institutions and homosexual rights, stuff like that. Conservative white lady, would you like to step in and state your opinion?
Like on Trump and gay marriage, or
on religious institutions, and should they be given an exemption when it comes to baking the cake or gay adoption?
Like, should religious institutions have influence on whether or not gay adoption should be legal?
No. So let's say if you have a homosexual couple, gay couple, who goes to like a very religious orphanage. Should the orphanage be able to say we're not really comfortable with you adopting, or do you think they should be forced to allow children to be adopted by gay couples?
So force is kind of a strong
not force.
word.
Okay, so can I hold on before you answer that question? The reason why religious institutions have to give kids for adoption to not discriminate against gay couples isn't really has to do with the gay couple's rights, but more so looking out for the best interest of the child. Trump administration tried to issue a waiver for South Carolina to be able for religious institutions to basically not have to look out for the best welfare of the child because of their when it comes to gay people adopting. That's basically what happened.
I get that, and I will admit that does sound. I'm an atheist, but I was raised Roman Catholic. If I say that a religious adoption agency should be forced to, not forced, should be. It's kind of like you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't have freedom of religion, in my opinion, but step on freedom of religion. And you can't have gay rights fully when you're stepping on gay rights. It's kind of like a 50-50 split.
Well, it's not just the gay rights though. It's just the welfare. But you got the gay rights. Yeah, that's a thing. But like also, what's best for the child, to be stuck in the foster care system or to be with a gay couple? I
guess you kind of changed my opinion on this. So good for you, liberal cluck.
Okay. How about you, conservative?
Sorry?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Say what you're saying. I'm so bad at interrupting people. I'm so sorry.
No, it's all right. I have a tendency of stuttering too. But do you think a baker should be forced to bake the cake? In your opinion, do you know what I'm referencing when I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're referencing. I think that if you want a business license in America, you should be forced to abide by all the anti-discrimination laws that America makes you abide by.
I see it as a case-by-case basis, similar to the whole separation of. Well, I see. I'm neutral when it comes to that, but I see it as a case-by-case basis. In the baking the cake situation, I'm sorry if I'm not letting you answer, conservative white lady. But I think it's a case-by-case basis. Now, if in the case I went to the Supreme Court, the baker said, "I won't put 2 grooms on the wedding cake, but I'll give you anything else. I'll bake you a birthday cake. I'll give you muffins. I'll give you brownies." I would take the baker's side in that, but if a gay couple were to walk in and the baker were to drop certain homophobic slurs, stuff along those lines, I would obviously take the gay couple side. I mean, that's just blatant discrimination, in my opinion.
Well, let's let the conservative white lady speak to the adoption thing, and then we can move on to the cake.
Okay, so what is the question about adoption?
All right.
Should gay people be able to adopt?
Well, see, what the Trump administration was trying to do was trying to allow South Carolina to issue waivers to religious institutions that also had adoption agencies to be able to discriminate against. The waiver basically said you do not have to look out for the best, because adoption agencies, as it stands, have to do what's best for the child. This waiver allowed religious institutions to ignore that mandate because they don't want to adopt 2 gay couples. Do you think that that's a good policy for both gay rights and for both the welfare of orphans?
So, yeah, I don't think that's good policy. I think that, if a gay couple is, going to provide a loving and stable home for an orphan, then I fully support that couple doing that.
I agree.
I don't think, that's one thing I hate about policy in America when it comes to some of these like civil liberties. It's like, who the fuck is anyone to make that decision? It just, I don't know, to me it shouldn't be a government issue at all. Like, I just think as a civilization we're better than that. So but what's crazy to me is, like, in America and in the West, I feel like being gay is much more normalized now versus like Middle Eastern countries, and there's persecution for being gay. There's still homosexuals who are murdered for their sexuality. I think that's like insane. So, I don't think homosexuals are being murdered in the United States or anything like that. And I think it's ridiculous that it's the role of the government to make some of these decisions. So, but I do think that, there should be criteria, and if they're for adoption, and if a gay couple meets the criteria, then that should be that. I don't think sexuality should be part of the criteria, but,
Okay.
But I do think, so here's my thing with Trump and, sexuality and stuff. He has to toe a line with the conservatives because there are evangelicals. And I think what people are realizing is that Trump support it's growing. And despite him basically taking a more liberal stance on gay marriage in his, third year, he basically, I think what it was, if I remember correctly, and the LGBT community was like outraged by it, was at one point Obama had allowed transgender sex changes to be covered by medical insurance. I think Trump dialed that back and I don't think it was because he just, hates trans people. I think it was an economic thing because a lot of companies, like, that costs money for companies, and they're such a minority and things like that. Who knows? I don't know all the details of it, but he rolled that back, and I think people were kind of outraged by it. But other than that, he's made other changes later in his administration that were in favor for the gay community, and I think he's come out as being more like open and not homophobic or whatever. I don't think he's homophobic. I don't think he's sexist. I don't think he's racist. I think everyone's a little sexist and a little racist and a little whatever, like we're human beings. It's kind of natural.
I'm curious as to what changes he's made.
I'll have to look up some of the articles and maybe send them over. Is there a way to like share links within this app? I've never done this app before.
Yeah, so if you go up to where it says General Cluck, you can, that's just a chat site. You can post anything you want there as long as it's not racist or homophobic or, hateful.
Cool. Yeah, so I do feel like, he kind of, I don't want to say he is more in favor. He's trying to toe a line between his base. And it's kind of like how the left is. The left has the left is a combination of minorities. So each minority group has different, agendas and all of that. And that's why the left, I feel like, has a lot more infighting. But the infighting exists over on the right too, where you have like extreme religious people versus more moderate people, whatever. And so that happens too. And I feel like Trump was trying to kind of appease his more religious people. I mean, whenever Trump says stuff about God, I'm like, come on, dude. Really? Like, okay, I believe you that you're religious, but I think he's more just like appealing what his base wants to hear from him in some ways. However, I think he's way more socially liberal. He just has to kind of play that role of, appeasing his entire base.
Hey, Liberal Cluck.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to the bake the cake thing, I want to ask, do you see why I hold my position when it comes to that, or is it?
Go ahead and repeat what you were saying.
Okay, so I think it's a case by case basis. I think that the case that went to Supreme Court, you can look it up. It's a very interesting case. I could share a link if you want. But what's it called? The baker, the gay couple went in. They said, "Hey, I want a wedding cake." The baker said, "I'm not comfortable with putting two grooms on a wedding cake, but I'll sell you anything else in the store. Anything else."
So, hold on. Can I stop you right there and just give you a hypothetical?
Yes.
What if a gay couple comes into a bar and they're like, "Hey, give me a Bud Light," and the bartender was like, "Well, I'm not going to give you a Bud Light because but here's an Appletini for you." Would you be okay with that?
No, I have a question for you. Is Bud Light a part of Christianity, in your opinion?
Well, the wedding cake isn't really a part of Christianity, is it?
Well, I'm an atheist, obviously, and and I'm bisexual, so I'm not really into the Jesus stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm seeing this through my grandmother's eyes, who's really Roman Catholic. In her view, a wedding cake is directly tied to marriage, and in her opinion, not in my opinion, I'm for gay marriage, but in her opinion, she believes in traditional marriage, and I don't think that you should be able to. How do I say this? I don't think that. Do you get what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm saying?
So what if this bartender did think that Bud Light was like a religious thing, or what if they ordered red wine? They went in, they ordered red wine, and it's like, no, that's the symbol of blood of Jesus. You get Appletinis. You can order anything else on the menu, but you can't have red wine.
Well, red wine isn't a really big symbol from Christianity. I mean, it's what's it called? What's a good example? What's it called? Like a cross is like a symbol from Christianity, but red wine isn't really a symbol. When you say, "Oh yeah," when a person says red wine, what do you think people are going to think of? Getting drunk? They're not going to say, "Oh yeah, it's Jesus' blood, it's Christianity." But when people think of a wedding cake, typically, depending on who you talk to, some would say they think of marriage. Some people would just say, stuffing my mouth full of cake. But I think the majority of people would say marriage. But if you ask a bunch of people, "Oh yeah, what do you think of when you think of red wine?" People are going to say, pardon my French, but getting shit-faced.
So
can I just ask, what is the question? Like, is it that was this person in their right to be like, "Sorry, I can't sell you a wedding cake, but I can sell you a birthday cake," or?
Yeah, basically.
Yes.
Okay, so my opinion on that is, fuck that bitch, go find a better baker.
So what I would say is that if you have a business license in America, you should have to abide by all the anti-discrimination laws that America offers. Now, you can be an independent contractor where you don't actually have an official license and stuff, and you're baking cakes on the side and refuse to bake cakes for gay people. That would be fine. But if you have a business license in America, then you should not be allowed to discriminate against people based off of your religion. If you are able to discriminate against people based off of your religion, then any business can really find religious reasons to discriminate against people, in my opinion. Because
the thing about being in business, and I only can speak to this because I own one, is like, if you're a business person, your main objective is to make money. There's not a lot of people that are going to stand some moral high ground because they are that. I feel like there are extremes, and the media loves to call out these outliers who are freaking extreme and whatever. But I don't think that we need laws to I don't know, because I don't think people should discriminate.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm white and I've been discriminated against by, black business owners or whoever. They do business with me, but they're not excited to do business with me or whatever. There's a lot of reverse racism in the South. That's where I live. Not a lot, but it's gotten better. And I get why it exists. But I mean, it's a real thing though. Like, not all Black people are like in love with the idea of like, you know, being buddy buddy with white people. Whereas I feel like white people are like, let's bury the hatchet, and Black people are like, fuck you guys. So, anyways, that's like a different topic. But I feel like if I were a gay person, I would want to go find a baker that was like psyched to make me a cake. I wouldn't want to have to like flex the law on them about what's right or wrong. It's like if someone's not enthusiastic about having my business, then screw them. I'm going to go do business with someone who deserves my business. Like, I feel like some people just fucking suck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so what you're speaking of, practically speaking, yeah, that's the way that most people probably would be. But do you think that it's important for our governmental institutions to uphold this idea of equality?
So yes, but you know, at what level does it become a little too authoritarian, like whatever? I feel like people can make good decisions on their own. Now, if a gay couple walked into a bakery and they were attacked or harassed or, you know, whatever, I could see that. If someone was like begrudgingly like, oh, I can't do that, it's against my religion, I can sell you a birthday cake, I would be like, you know what? Fuck you, and I'm going somewhere else. But I'm not going to be like, we need laws to like fight against these people who have shitty worldviews or whatever. People are going to have shitty worldviews. It's like you can't police every worldview. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I feel about it.